It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Friday's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live. It is presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. And we are coming to you from the Hackensack Meridian Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better, and if I look jacked up, well, I am, Matt. I'm sorry, but the energy is just bursting from the seams. You're going to have to deal with me today.
This is probably the first time that I actually feel like I might be on the same or at least close to your level.
All right. Yeah,
excitement.
there we go.
I'm just ready for some last night got me so amped up for just some real football.
Well, if you didn't happen to see the game last night, we saw two teams in the NFC East, Philadelphia and Dallas, play absolutely no defense in the first half whatsoever. It was embarrassing.
Well, the Eagles had their best defensive player ejected before one defensive snap.
I have no idea what got into Jalen Carter to do what he did, to spit and get himself thrown out. And we'll see what the NFL wants to do about that, by the way, because they have put an extra point of emphasis this offseason, and we've been told this because the NFL has passed out a lot of things to the broadcast teams to let us know, what they're looking for and what they'd like to emphasize and rules changes and stuff like that. This is a big point of emphasis this offseason about mutual respect amongst players. Sportsmanship is like with a capital S. And with what he did last night, I'm curious if there are going to be any repercussions. If he may even get not just a fine, but would they consider suspending him a game just to slam home the point that they've been telling us now for months that they were going to crack down on poor sportsmanship?
Well, if they do suspend him for one game, can they delay that until week 6? That would be nice. No. I hear where you're coming from. I mean, it's tough for him to have any argument, saying like, "Oh, I didn't try to do it on purpose." You can clearly see it. Of all those spit videos we've seen over the years, this had to be one of the most obvious, where you can literally just see it flying right out of his helmet, hitting Dak Prescott. And I know at least a lot of Eagle fans have been trying to say, "Oh, well, look at the video. Dak spit at him first." There's another video where you can see Dak standing about, 7 yards away with two of his own offensive linemen in front of him and Dak spitting at the ground. Mm-hmm. If you want to say he was somewhat in the direction of Jalen Carter, I can give you that. But it was still at least 4 yards away from where Jalen Carter was standing. And then Jalen Carter walked right up to him and spit on him. So all I'm going to say is Jalen Carter doesn't exactly have the best track record of smart decisions.
He does not.
This was just the latest one in a list of them, so we can leave it at that.
Now, in terms of one other comment about the game, as I said, no defense played at all during the first half when it was 24-20 Philadelphia. And then after, in the second half, I think both teams kind of lost their way. I didn't see a lot of gas in the tank. I thought also the lightning delay was also a big part of that.
Oh, yeah. That clearly had an effect on the teams. I mean, as soon as they went into the delay, you were seeing all these tweets from reporters that were at the game in the tunnels being like, "Oh, the Cowboys are having carts of food wheeled into the locker room." Like, that's not what you want to hear in the middle of the third quarter of a game.
No,
and it's no surprise that once both teams took the field again, both offenses were incredibly sluggish. There were no points scored after the lightning break. I mean, only a couple of first downs total between the two teams. Mm-hmm. CeeDee Lamb, who had an amazing first half, seemed like he forgot how to catch a football towards the end of the game. Yeah, it was after a first half of amazing offensive play, second half left a lot to be desired for both teams.
Did you guys stay up after the delay?
I did not make it until the end of the game.
I dozed and then woke up with a few minutes to go. And CeeDee Lamb, as you mentioned, dropped one long bomb down the stretch and then another one he should have made a play on. If you're an all-pro, you got to make that play. Yeah. Whether or not some people are going to say that was not a drop, I grade tough. That's a drop.
He also he said it himself. that he dropped the ball
There
and
are
he
some
can't
lenient
drop the
people
ball.
out there who like to.
Well, he is not one of them. He's obviously one of the best receivers in the NFL and
So
holds
that's
himself
3
to
for
a
him
high
yesterday.
standard, and
Yeah.
he expected himself to catch that.
If he's going to be as great as he says he is, he's got to make the play, and he didn't. So 3 drops for CeeDee Lamb. Another item I thought was very interesting: Adoree Jackson, the former Giant, now starting out at one of the corners for the Eagles, and had a miserable first half. They really went to town on him. And I'll be frank with you, I liked Adoree as a guy, really good player, until the concussion 2 years ago. And when he came back from the concussion, I didn't think he was the same player. And then last year when the Giants brought him back late because they were hurting for bodies on the depth chart, I thought he was just an average player last year at best. I just didn't think he was the same.
Yeah, I thought last year he was okay. He wasn't bad. He wasn't a liability out there, but he also wasn't, the Adoree Jackson of a few years ago. I was a little surprised that the Eagles, I'm pretty sure, didn't they sign him pretty early?
Yeah.
In free agency? Like, I'm surprised that they went after him. Clearly, they were targeting him in free agency, wanted him. I think we saw last night that, I don't think he's necessarily going to be a huge liability on a weekly basis, but for the Eagles, who have obviously aspirations to go back-to-back Super Bowl championships, I don't know if I'd feel good about him being one of my starting corners out there. I mean, there's a reason why it seemed like the Giants didn't have much, if any, interest in bringing him back, and they've obviously gotten to know him very well over the last couple of years and kind of have a good sense of how much he might have left in the tank. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Philly, already starts looking for some potential guys that they could bring in, whether it's, as we spoke about in the offseason or leading up to training camp, cornerback and in the secondary in general is the position group where there are veterans on the back 9 of their careers, but veterans that are sitting there waiting for a team to call. Asante Samuel Jr. is still out there. I hope he doesn't end up in
After
Philly.
week 1, when you don't have to guarantee the salary for the year, you will see some of these guys trickle in.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that is a position that they address in the near future.
Now, I want to make one thing very clear, though, folks, before we dabble too much in the fact that, there were certainly some weaknesses on both of these teams that we saw yesterday. I do want to just go back to something that I have always said. You can't judge a team in the first couple of weeks of the season. You got to wait till a month in. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is in the NFL today. So I don't want to make any concrete knee-jerk reactions about what I saw. But I will say this. Dallas and Philadelphia both showed some warts last night. That's for sure. Now, again, Carter was thrown out immediately. So that changed the complexion of their defensive line. So I don't want to say that the Eagles' defensive line has taken a huge shot because Carter didn't play. Whether or not he's on the field next week or the week after, when he's back in the lineup, he makes a difference.
100%.
So I don't want to go too far with that.
No.
But they didn't play very well without him.
100%. But going into the season, especially after the big trade in the division, last week with Micah Parsons going to Green Bay, when you looked at both of these two teams, I think everyone would agree that both of the offenses are a lot better than their defenses. In Dallas,
they're top heavy. They're top heavy
in
on
Dallas.
offense.
In Dallas, there's no question, especially after the Micah Parsons trade. They still have what I think could be a top offensive unit, the Cowboys, but their defense, they have a lot of holes now all over. Eagles obviously are coming off a season last year where they had one of the best defenses in the NFL, but they lost a lot of key players. These are players that everyone knew going into this season, those are going to be big holes to fill. And I don't know if they did fill all of them. You look at the defensive front. The defensive front doesn't look like the defensive front that we saw last year in Philadelphia. Josh Sweat.
It didn't last night.
Josh Sweat was a big loss. Milton Williams was a big loss. They signed Azeez Ojulari. He wasn't even active last night.
I know.
So
wow.
So we kind of knew that
I wonder if he was hurt again.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it was a healthy inactive or if there's something going on. But we knew that the defense were going to be, for the Eagles, I'm putting weakness in quotes because I still think the defense will be pretty good with Jalen Carter playing. their rookie Jihad Campbell, he was fantastic last night. He was really good. And, they have good players across their defense, but it's the offenses for these two teams that are clearly going to carry them to whatever level of success they might have this year. And the offenses both looked good in the first half. They looked really good. I mean,
no, not just good, really good.
The Dallas on that first drive went right down the field. Javonte Williams looked like he, drank from the fountain of youth, and all of a sudden, got some of his spring back from earlier in his career.
And the Dallas O-line played well in that first half too.
They did. And obviously with the Eagles, I mean, the Eagles scored, was it 24, 21?
It was
21 first half points, was it?
No, it was 24-20 at the half, wasn't it?
Whatever it was, they scored 3 touchdowns in the first half alone. And that was without A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith doing anything.
Yeah.
They combined for...
They're dangerous as heck.
They combined for, I think, a total of maybe 30 yards receiving, the two top guys. And A.J. Brown is one of the best receivers in the NFL. So clearly, we are talking about some of the warts, but the offenses for both of these teams are not to be overlooked in the slightest, but could end up being 2 top 10 offenses this year. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest.
It is clear to me that while Philadelphia has the best balance in terms of the roster in the division, okay, that's clear to me. It's also clear to me that the Giants might wind up having the best defense overall in the division. That's possible. If these guys play like they can, they got a chance to do it.
It's going to come down to the run defense, which I'm not
doubt.
Going out on a limb saying
No
that.
doubt.
I mean, especially... it's going to start on Sunday with the Commanders, who obviously they no longer have Brian Robinson, but the dual threat of Jaden Daniels is obviously something the Giants are going to very much have to keep an eye on Sunday. But when it comes to facing these two teams, again, Javonte Williams did look pretty good last night. Miles Sanders had that one big run, but I'm not exactly. I wouldn't say I'm nervous about the Cowboys' run game. It's the passing game that is very talented. But week 6...
On the other hand, Philly runs the ball.
Week 6, when the Giants play the Eagles, that is going to be... there's going to be tests earlier on. The Chargers, the Chiefs, these are teams that want to obviously have balanced offenses, but are going to want to run the football. But that week 6 game against the Eagles, how the Giants can potentially contain or at least attempt to contain the run game led by Saquon and Jalen Hurts, that is going to be a huge test to see, I guess, how much the Giants really close the gap with some of these division rivals.
Well, here's what I will say, realistically speaking. Philly, Washington, and Dallas are all top-heavy on offense, where their offenses are better than their defensive units. I think we can say that pretty clearly. The Giants are the opposite. They've got the better defense that's going to have to lead the offense. So they're the outlier in the division. And if you believe that defense is the best way in Football 101 to compete and to potentially be a winning team, this should help the Giants close the gap. This is just fundamental football. If you play great defense, you should be in most of your games. On the other hand, teams that can't play very good defense run the risk of being hammered a bunch of times. So that's a very interesting dynamic in this division, where I just don't think enough of people are going back to the fundamentals of football and understanding that the Giants have a chance to close the gap, if for no other reason than they might wind up having clearly the best defense in the division. I don't think we should ignore that.
No, of course. The only thing I'm going to add, and I'm saying this because we've heard it from, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon, all the defensive players, is as much praise as we're giving them and heaping up onto them,
they got to
do as much talent as they have on paper.
I know.
It means diddly squat until they actually go out there starting this Sunday and start doing it for real. So that's I do agree that I think on paper the Giants have the best defense in the division, but on paper doesn't mean anything. They got to go out and do it.
Make a statement Sunday. How about that?
Exactly.
Make a statement on Sunday. All right, folks, 201-939-4513. Just as a programming reminder, the kickoff at Washington on Sunday is at 1 p.m. Obviously, you can catch the game on Fox TV locally and also on WFAN radio. We go to line 1. Rob in Yonkers. You are first on the program. Hello.
Good afternoon, guys. Thank you for taking my call.
Hey, Rob.
I just want to say that I called you guys last year. It's funny about Adoree Jackson, and I complained about him like the whole episode. And I'm happy we don't have him no more because it seems like when it comes to a good quarterback, he's going to be the main target when it comes to a receiver.
Well, I mean,
especially considering the other guys the Eagles have in that
Mitchell
secondary.
Can play on the other side.
Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, he's gonna be the corner that the opposing offenses target for sure.
Who are you gonna pick on? You know what I mean?
Although CeeDee Lamb did have a couple of really good plays on Mitchell in that first half.
I don't know that I'd want to test him too much, though.
No, I'm with you.
And Paul, I agree with you as well. A couple episodes back, somebody was saying that we should have kept more offensive linemen, and I agree with you because we always had that issue with offensive linemen. So I agree that keeping more is better.
I'm glad you just brought up offensive line. We should tell you today that Brian Dable, the head coach, said that Andrew Thomas was going to participate in practice today. Now, we don't know how many snaps he'll take or the extent of what he's going to do, but Brian Dable did say Thomas would be practicing today and that after practice they were going to talk to him and the trainers and go from there. So that puts a little bit of a different spin on things compared to yesterday when he did not practice.
And I think it's also important to add that Brian Dable did add that not only was Andrew Thomas going to be on the practice field today, but he did say he's going to do some team stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He shared that little detail, which obviously we know Coach doesn't like to share too many details, especially when it comes to injuries. And we don't know exactly how much in the last week, 2 weeks, Andrew Thomas has been doing in terms of team drills. So it was just good to hear Coach Dable say that he will be out there for at least some team stuff. We have no idea the extent, but the fact that he's out there for any team stuff is an encouraging sign.
And Rob, before you continue, I should also add one other injury note. Coach Dable also mentioned that they would pull back a tad, a little load management on Malik Neighbors. His back was a little bit sore, but then Brian Dable also immediately responded to a question about it and said, don't worry, he's going to be fine for the game on Sunday. So this is just a load management issue, and as we all know, that becomes a regular NFL phrase these days. Back in the day, that didn't happen, but today there's load management every week with guys. That's just the way it is. It's a regular occurrence, so no need to panic. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. A few more things. I'm feeling very excited about this year. I know preseason is just preseason. I've been a Giants fan all my life, but this preseason felt totally different. I just feel that we will make it to the playoffs, and I'm going to give you guys a call back after we beat Dallas. So we're going to beat Washington, and we're going to beat Dallas. So remember Rob from Yonkers, I will be giving you a call back when we're 2-0.
Rob, we will be here, and I await your phone call.
I look forward to that phone call.
Have a great day.
Guys, have an excellent day.
You too now.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks for calling. 201-939-4513. Arnold is in Buffalo on line 2. You're next on the show. Hello.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Paul. How's it going?
Good. Well, how are you, my man?
Everything's great. Listen, I'm very excited about this season. I think Russell Wilson is going to really do it. And I got some predictions later on, but I wanted to ask one question. Can you tell me the difference between, I keep hearing you guys say like a 3 technique and a 5 technique. What's the difference between those things?
All right, I will tell you, I try to avoid those things because you're right. Most fans out there don't understand the nomenclature. That's very specific when you start talking about the positions along the defensive front. Okay, in short, the one that you'll hear the most often is 3 technique defensive tackle. Basically, that guy is the penetrator. He is the guy who's more athletic, who's more svelte, and he's the guy who you want to get pass rush out of playing the defensive tackle spot, as opposed to the other defensive tackle who is often referred to as a nose tackle. Even if you're playing a 4-3 front, they'll still call him a nose tackle because he's the Dexter Lawrence. He's the wide body. He's the plugger. He's the one who's going to try to fill up the gap with his girth, or the guy who's going to try to take two guys in a double team and just sit their butts right there on the line of scrimmage so they can't do anything else to block for the other offensive players. That's basically the most common technical term you'll hear for any of the defensive linemen. 3 technique, referring to the penetrating, quick, athletic, svelte defensive tackle who wants to get into the backfield as opposed to the plugger at the line of scrimmage. I could waste a lot of time here going through all the different positions. I don't think that would do anybody any good. That's the one that's most common.
So you saying a 5 technique is Dexter Lawrence?
No. He is a nose tackle.
Right. So
a 3 technique would be Nacho.
The 3, but
Nacho.
What's the 5?
Nacho would be a 3 technique because he's more of a penetrator. Darius Alexander is more of a 3 technique. He's more of a penetrator. Leonard Williams was more of a 3 technique because he was more of a penetrator. I know it's funny because Dexter Lawrence had 9 sacks last year. And he missed a whole bunch of games. So you probably could say to me, well, why isn't he a 3 technique? No, he is a nose tackle. Okay? Appreciate it, Arnold. Thank you. 201-939-4513. I know John likes to use a lot of the coaches' terminology. I don't know that necessarily helps a lot of our fans because they don't know those things. So I've always tried to, use the older nomenclature, which just sticks to basically the positions. And as far as the 2 defensive tackle spots, I've always used the penetrator and the plugger because it makes it so much easier for fans to understand what their role is in the defense. But the penetrator is the 3 technique, okay? That one gets used a lot. Even on TV, they use that one a lot.
Yeah, I mean, especially I feel like with how versatile almost all the defensive linemen across the NFL are these days, and with how so many guys line up in multiple spots, I agree that, I don't know if we need to always use the 3 technique, 5 technique terminology, because again, these guys move around so much. Dexter Lawrence lined up primarily at nose tackle. That one is kind of easy, but I feel like so many other guys, they're just lining up all over the line of scrimmage. You don't necessarily need to, single one guy out as, he's the Giants' 3 technique or,
Even back in yesteryear, when teams started going to the 3-4 defense, the nose tackle was the guy in the middle of the 3 down linemen.
Yeah.
But then, as defenses started to develop more specialized roles, you can now have a nose tackle in a 4 down line set because he's the plugger.
Yeah.
And so he's not necessarily the guy in the middle of a 3 down line. That's why use the penetrator and the plugger. It's the easiest way, and this way everybody can understand what you mean. 201-939-4513 is our phone number here on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Do we have any YouTube comments? Did you see any?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Go ahead. You want to read a couple of those?
All right. James McKnight said, after watching Eagles-Cowboys last night, what do you see as the Cowboys' greatest vulnerability? Again, the defense, period. I mean, they still have some talented players scattered across their defense, but, the Cowboys' defense that has caused, so much trouble for the Giants in the last couple of years, the 2 guys that were really leading the charge were Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, both of whom are now gone. So, and they do have some talented cornerbacks. They just signed Deron Bland to an extension. Trayvon Diggs is there, but those guys don't scare me nearly as much as Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence did for so many years. So
really,
so I know it's kind of a general answer here, but really just the Cowboys defense. Their run defense doesn't scare me. The pass defense doesn't scare me. Their offense does scare me because their offense is really good.
Yeah.
But so, when it comes to Giants Cowboys week 2, that might be a game where, obviously the defense will have to step up, but the offense is going to have to potentially, keep up with Dallas's offense.
All right, real quick, Mamadou Kanti says, how do you all feel about our linebackers? Well, again, I consider the linebackers part of the whole edge rushers. I consider Thibodeau and Burns still linebackers. I consider Carter a linebacker, McFadden and Okereke and Muasau. Those are all linebackers for me. I know some people want to still separate them with the nomenclature. Edge rusher. He's not a linebacker. He's an edge rusher. He's a linebacker, folks. Okay? How do I feel? Real good.
I do think the question was asking more about the second level of the defense, though, the inside linebackers.
McFadden and Okereke?
Yes. I feel like that is – I don't want to speak for the commenter, but I feel like that's probably where they were going because most people do consider the
I still feel good about
the
them,
outside linebackers more as – kind of defense alignment because they do a lot of the time line up on the line of scrimmage. So if we're just talking about the inside linebackers, to answer your question, and I actually spoke about this on the first Giants Hangout podcast that was posted yesterday on Giants podcast platforms. But I said that the Giants linebackers are the position group that I think are being overlooked the most of any position group on the entire roster. You know, the defense has gotten so much attention, most of which has been about the pass rush, and rightfully so, because the Giants could have one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. We've spoken a lot about the secondary, mainly because of the additions of Paulson Adebo, Javon Holland, joining Drew Phillips, Tyler Nubin, Banks, Flott, young and up-and-coming secondary. There's not been much talk at all about the linebackers, and I think part of it was due to Bobby Okereke, I would say, having a little bit of a step back last year compared to his first season with the Giants, but that's only because he was so good his first year in the Giants back in 2023. He was so good and rock solid in the middle of the defense. Last year, first year in a new defense, he didn't quite live up to this, play up to the same level as he did the year before, but now he's year 2 in the system, in Shane Bowen's system. And I think both him and Micah McFadden are going to take steps this year, big steps, and I think they are just being completely overlooked as a position group, and I think they're going to surprise a lot of people this year.
I have no problem with anything you just said. I happen to like the linebacker core.
Me too.
Anthony says, I'm taking the Giants 22-17. Jack says the D-line is going to be really good if they all stay healthy, should lead the league in sacks. And then finally, let's see, who else do we have here? Oh, God's Will 64. I think the Giants will have a 20-point game on defense. Well, that's asking a lot for the defense to score 20 points on their own. Let's go back to the phones. Maurice in Montclair.
He's saying we'll give up 20 points a game.
Oh, we'll give up 20 points a game.
They will average 20 points a game as a scoring defense. I know it's how it's worth. I think that's
so
what
you're
he meant.
interpreting.
I'm taking a guess at what he meant.
I think so, too.
Okay, so fine. If the Giants give up 20 points a game, I'd be a tad disappointed. I think they could do a little better than that.
Really?
I think they're that good. The potential is there to be in the 17 to 18 point a game range. Which would be elite.
Where would 20 points a game have ranked last year?
I do not know the answer to that.
I'm going to look it up real quick.
It would be high. There are very few teams that give up in the teens.
20 would have the Giants as the 7th best scoring defense.
There you go.
I mean, I would sign me up for that. 7th best scoring defense? That's pretty good. I think, with a potentially elite pass rush?
I think they could, if they max out, do better than 20 a game.
I hope you're right.
Anyway, Maurice in Montclair, you are next on the program. Hello.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right. Doing good. Hey, check this out. This is a little different kind of question today, but just feel where I'm going with this. On Sunday, I'm posing a question to you guys. Do you think it's better if we win the toss and we say, let's go Russell and deploy the offense first and set that tone early and go out there and through momentum and, that philosophical approach to the game and that mental side, and we go out there and we get down there and let's just say something screw up and then we settle for 3. Just establish ourselves that way. I know we all love what we see from the defense, but I think what would y'all do? I want to know. I think if we kind of won the toss and we said, let's go offense. However, I like to see the offense out there first. And the second part is like, Paul, do you know any of the coaches that was around that really game plan towards stuff like that? Just thinking about the coin toss, we're going to defer this time. Because now I just see a lot of defers because we just want the ball back. So just tell me how you guys feel about that, and then I'll take it off the air.
Thank you, Maurice.
Okay. You want to address the first part of his question?
Sure. If it were up to me, I agree with Maurice. I think we saw this a little bit in the preseason. I would like the offense to go out there first and is, just as Marie said, sort of established the tone. And obviously going up against the Commanders, I would think it's safe to already say that their best player is Jaden Daniels after just 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
If the Giants win the toss, put the offense out there and try to take up as much clock as possible and keep Jaden Daniels off the field for as long as you possibly can. I think that's going to be the plan throughout the entire game, is to try to keep Daniels off the field as much as you can. And the way to do that is by sustaining long drives, having long scoring drives that eat up a lot of clock. That means the run game is going to have to be working. The quick pass game is going to have to be efficient with Russell Wilson. Maybe that means not too many moonball deep shots 50 yards down the field. But if the Giants can sustain long drives and keep Jaden off the field for as long as possible, that will set them up in a good chance to win the game on Sunday.
I love the game plan. I don't know that I would go that way, but I understand it. And I think that would be marvelously terrific for the Giants. I think in doing this, the strategy, and yes, by the way, to answer the second part of your question, the reason that teams defer is because several years ago, Belichick did an analytical study on this, and he was the first one who began the regular process of deferring, because he found out that teams that defer the kickoff win 52.5% of the games when he did his analytical study. So he decided, that's it, I'm going to do it. Well, this is a copycat league. When Belichick figures something out, everybody else says, okay, we're going to do it too. And that's why everybody does it, okay? The reason is because you want to try to take use of the double dip, where if you can score at the end of a half and then get the ball back to start the third quarter, in theory, you have the opportunity to possess the ball 2 times in a row and put up 2 consecutive scores without the other team answering. That's the theory behind it. And I understand that, okay? However, I am not one who automatically believes that you should follow the Belichick rule and automatically defer. And I do think, to answer your question, there are a lot of coaches who will automatically do it because Belichick did it and that's the way the league is going. There are other coaches who will pay attention to the weather. They will pay attention to the matchup. They will pay attention to the injury situation. They will pay attention. Is it a home game or is it a road game? If you're going to a very hostile environment like Seattle, where their crowd can cause trouble for your offense from the very get-go, that can be a detriment if you get the ball first. So, yes, there are some coaches who pay a lot of attention to the strategy of the individual game at the time as to whether or not they would do it. I would tell you, if I had the call on Sunday, the reason that I would defer this time is only because at the moment, as we sit here today, I have more confidence that the Giants' defense will go out and have a better first series than the offense would. I appreciate your logic, because if that works, it's great. I think right now, without any further evidence as to what this team is about, I have more confidence in a strong first series from the defense. Because if the offense comes out, gets the ball first, and doesn't move and goes 3 and out, now you're giving Jaden Daniels really good field position, and you're already putting the defense on its heels for the first time the Washington touches the ball.
I hear you.
That could be dangerous.
I do hear you. And of course, well,
there's no right or wrong
with what I said,
here.
Obviously, if the Giants go 3 and out, then what I said backfires for sure. And I get that. But I feel like, the defense has been so hyped and has all these high expectations. Everyone seems to think, despite Russell Wilson coming in and looking pretty good all summer and in the preseason, people still think the Giants are going to have one of the worst offenses in the NFL. People outside of this building, I should say. I just think to get the ball first, if you could then get the ball and immediately go drive down the field and score a touchdown, that would be sending such a message, not only to the Commanders, to the rest of the NFL, to the whole NFL world that has, ridden the Giants offense off to die. Like, it would be saying, like, we're good too. I just think that would send such a message. That is why I went with that.
There's no right or wrong answer
Obviously,
until you see the results.
Exactly. If you don't get it, then of course I would say, I take it back. We should have deferred.
It's like a fourth down, right?
Yeah.
It's only right or wrong if it works.
But I just think, because the Giants are being so overlooked, like it's sort of just like, why not? What do we have to lose?
All right, real quick, before we get to more phone calls, I want to quickly go over a couple of our promotional announcements. Don't forget, Giants season tickets are still available. I know the season is about to start, but that doesn't mean you can't get in on a season ticket membership. Go to giants.com/tickets to get all of the information, as well as finding out about the out-of-season member benefits that you would get as a subscriber. Giants TV is the official mobile app. It is free. It is on all of the different platforms, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and the Giants mobile app. You get to see all kinds of funny things and highlights at practice and so forth and so on. Game highlights, too, of course, during the course of the weekend. We need to tell you the Giants Foundation will host a 5K race and kids run presented by Quest on Sunday, October 26th at 9 a.m. at MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. All participants receive a commemorative T-shirt after the race. Stay for a post-race festival and appearances by Giants legends and a live DJ. Register now at giants.com/5K. And also the Giants Huddle. Pearson, I defer to you. Did any new ones go up this afternoon?
I'm not sure if it's up yet, but we have an interview with Brian Burns going up today, just talking about the Commanders and
that
the Giants
actually
defense.
is the pregame show interview, the longer version of the pregame show interview that John did for the game against Washington.
Correct.
Yeah.
And tomorrow we'll have Chris Mad Dog Russo on, just kind of previewing the season as well. So check out for a Saturday.
Mikey, that's a win, Mikey!
Exactly.
We are sitting too close for you to be screaming.
I know. Go ahead.
I don't think the Brian Burns huddle has been posted yet.
Okay.
But we did actually also yesterday post the fourth and I guess final, at least for now, edition of Phil Simms' QB series.
Yes.
Where he sat down and had a conversation with Russell Wilson. He's been doing it with all the quarterbacks. This was Russell's turn. Been saving it for right before week one. Highly recommend giving that a look.
Do
it a watch. Very entertaining.
I RT'd it already this morning. Please check it out.
Insightful.
Check it out. It's good. And I love when Russ asks Phil if he can go over some of Phil's plays, and Phil says, well, it's on grainy film. I don't know if you can see them. Oh, it's always great to see number 11 back here on campus. All right, we go to Mike in Florida. You're next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hi.
Need an explanation on how the Giant offensive line, which has been, I think, classified by you and John as technique-oriented, will handle defensive lines that are called maulers. Philadelphia's a mauler, Detroit's a mauler. I can toss them out, but you know what's on our schedule. So how do we match up with that?
Well, Thomas is a mauler, and to some degree, so is Illuminor. So I don't know that I would necessarily agree with the characterization. I do think that the three interior guys are technique-oriented linemen, but the two tackles, they play a power game now. Don't sell them short.
Yeah, I would say that I do think we're going to see a step from JMS this year in year 3.
He's gotten bigger.
Greg Van Roden, obviously coming off a very solid 2024 campaign, and John Runyon is a veteran that's been doing this for a long time now. Those three, the interior in general, the matchups against defensive lines that have, I would say, more top-level, top-tier interior guys might cause a little bit more trouble. But I feel like that goes for almost any team across the league. I mean, unless you have an all-pro center or all-pro guards, you're going to have trouble against, the Chris Joneses, the Jalen Carters, just like basically every single offensive line has trouble against Dexter Lawrence. So the teams that have those really top-level interior guys, which unfortunately the Giants do face some of those guys this year, one of which is in the division. Obviously, we spoke about him a little earlier with Jalen Carter, but those guys, they're going to cause more trouble because if you can wreak havoc from the interior, that's just going to throw a wrench in like the entire passing game's plan or in the running game, the whole offense in general. That's why when Dexter Lawrence can be disruptive, it messes everything up for opposing offenses.
Kenny Clark is a pretty good power player, and the Packers just traded him to Dallas in the Parsons deal. So that does enhance that position for Dallas a bit. But, if you're an opponent, you'd much rather face Kenny Clark than Micah Parsons. So I'm not going to be crying over that move. And then, Daron Payne would be the lead guy. I mean, I always thought Kinlaw was a good player, but he's never lived up to his potential. Payne, of course, was a really solid player since he came into the league. But now that some of his other cohorts over the years have gone, I'm not so sure he can be the lead dog in that defensive line.
I was surprised that they were so quick to get rid of Jonathan Allen.
Yeah.
I think Jonathan Allen's a very good player who still has some good football left in him, and was not surprised to see the Vikings quickly jump and sign him.
Anyway, anything else?
Well, what I thought you would say, and you didn't, is that the Giants might have to go to a two tight end scheme on a regular basis.
Well, you know me. I'm always in favor of double tight ends being part of the game plan. In fact, I like using a jumbo 6 offensive lineman in short yardage. And quite frankly, with Evan Neal still on this team, Neal's a power offensive lineman, right? He's a mauler. If he winds up seizing Van Roten's job at some point this season, you can put him in the mauler category. And quite honestly, again, I've got no problem if they want to go short yardage, get Neal in the game. Make him the extra lineman. Make him that second tight end. And just run that ball right up his back.
And yeah, I think it obviously depends on the defense that the Giants are facing, but of course they're going to use tight ends to stay in and block on some occasions. I mean, with teams that have more talented defensive fronts, there's a reason why Chris Manhertz made this team.
It's true.
He's a longtime veteran that's not exactly known for his catching ability. I've been saying this for months. I've been, a proponent for him to make the final 53 leading all throughout training camp because I said he's the best blocking tight end the Giants have, and by a wide margin, I feel like. So, yeah, of course, it depends on who they're playing. Obviously, there are some defensive fronts that the Giants will feel like they don't need to keep extra tight ends in to block, at least not every play. But on other occasions where they're playing, elite defenses, elite defensive fronts, 100% you're going to see tight ends, running back staying in and back to block, help the offensive lineman out.
Thank you, Mike. Take care.
You're welcome.
201-939-4513. We go to Randy in California. You're next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Hi.
Good. What's up, Randy?
Are you guys looking forward to a wonderful season again?
Hey, man, if you can't look forward to a wonderful season every August, then you're not an NFL fan. You gotta believe every August that you're going to have a fun few months. Unfortunately, a lot of these recent seasons, that hasn't been the case.
Back.
I'm just happy.
We're just glad football's back. It don't matter. We got
there you go,
Randy.
So
I love it.
Randy, you took the words out of my mouth. I literally was about to say, I am just happy that football is back.
I was so desperate, I couldn't wait to see the Notre Dame-Miami game last Sunday night, just to get Sunday night football back on the schedule.
Yeah. Hey, I had a question, if you guys don't mind asking. How long do you guys think that offensive line really is going to take to start gelling? Is it, like a couple weeks, mid-season, we should really see what we got on both sides?
To be honest,
if you don't mind?
In terms of the offensive line, I don't expect him to take that long to gel. I mean, they're bringing back all of the starters from last year, who obviously, those starters only had the first 6 weeks of the season to play together before Andrew Thomas got hurt. But the whole unit is now back. Obviously, there are some additions to the group, but at least four of the five starters on week 1 will be returning. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Andrew Thomas will still have to see, but I don't really think it's going to take that long at all for the offensive line to really gel and develop that chemistry. I think we saw some of those growing pains at the beginning of last year, but that was last year. Now they've had, again, a full season. They've had all offseason, all a training camp. I expect that unit to hit the ground running, honestly.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping, that we can finally fix the offensive line and start playing better football. It's been hurting us for so long. If we could just get that to average, we're going to have some fun.
Come on, Randy. You know the word. You know the word. It's functional. Functional is the word.
Functional.
There you go. Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
All right, guys.
Call again.
But yeah, we saw it in the preseason, the offensive line. I mean, obviously it wasn't perfect all 3 games, but I think the offensive line was a lot better than what a lot of people were expecting the unit to be, especially considering the struggles the unit had last year.
And they did play against some top-tier guys in the preseason, too.
Yeah, not, obviously
not all across the board.
Not throughout the whole game or every single game, but like it's not like every single snap was up against backups. Like, Buffalo was playing their starters the beginning of that game where the offensive line was looking good.
Yep. Line 3 has Sean in Maryland waiting to get on the program. So you're next. Hello, Sean.
What's going on, fellas?
Hi.
I haven't been more excited in a long time to watch the Giants, man. I'm excited for everything. As we know, the D-line is the highlight of the team. However, I want to look at the other side of the ball. For years, I've been begging the Giants to draft a short yardage, bowling ball-like running back. And now we finally got one in Scatterbo. And I'm really curious to see how the play calling and how we're going to handle short yardage situations. So what I'm really looking for, I want to see the Chats Cat. I want to see Elijah Chapman as a fullback. I want to see Scatterbo in the backfield. And I want us to line up in a power eye and say, listen, we're going to run the ball. You know and we know, everyone knows we're going to run the ball, and there's nothing you could do about it.
I love it.
That's what I want to see from the Giants. Like, come on, we line up. Let's go. Get this touchdown. Keep it moving.
Sean, you and I need to sit down with an extra cheese pizza because you and I are on the same page, baby. On the same page. Let's do it.
I have 2 things just to say about this. For starters, I think it's just important to note Elijah Chapman is currently on the practice squad. So in order for him to even be out on the field at all on Sunday, the Giants will need to elevate him from the practice squad tomorrow, which we'll find out around 4 o'clock tomorrow what roster moves are being made. If he's not elevated, then unfortunately your desire to see that power eye will have to wait at least one more week. And secondly, about Scat, obviously the Giants drafted him beginning of the 4th round. He was one of the best players in all college football last year. Right behind Ashton Genty, he was up there among the best playmakers. But it's just important to keep in mind that he is still a rookie running back. And obviously there's more to playing the running back position than just running the football. There's pass protection. There's a lot of things. So it might take him, just like we saw last year with Tyrone Tracy, it might take him a couple of weeks for the coaching staff to fully trust him to put him out there for more than just a play or two. Let's not forget, Tyrone Tracy really did not play much the first 4 weeks of the season last year until Singletary got hurt. Wait a minute, though.
You're not asking for Scatterbo to get a ton of carries. You're just talking about goal line or short yardage, right?
But those are
short yardage. Listen, 3rd and 1.
Right. And his point.
No, I get it.
Go from the 2.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying those are high leverage situations. Yeah. Put a rookie in his NFL debut.
So have confidence.
It's not that I don't have confidence. I'm just trying to set the level of expectations.
I'm with
here.
you, my man.
When the Giants have Devin Singletary, who's a running back that the coaching staff very much trusts. Devin Singletary is a running back that the coaching staff has a ton of trust in. I'm just saying I don't know if necessarily the coaching staff is going to rush to throw Scatterbo out there in these very high leverage situations in his very first NFL game. That's all I'm saying.
See, the caller's point was...
No, I get it. He has to develop trust, and I understand that. However, once that trust is developed, or even if you put a tight end, a fullback, whatever it is, I just want to see old school smash mouth football.
The reason I love what you're doing...
to stop that.
All right, my man, the reason I love what you're saying is for the following reasons. Number one, Scatterbo ran for 21 touchdowns last year, so he has a nose for the end zone, and he knows how to power the ball across the goal line in short yardage situations. That takes a certain knack. Not everybody can do that. So that's good. So I love what you're talking about, and I think that's his role right out of the box. I really do. But here's what I will say. You mentioned the very scenario under which you would utilize him, and that is we're going to line up the beef. We're going to tell you what we're going to do, and we're still going to ram it down your throats. That mentality is a winning mentality. That's the aggressive, confident, go get it. We're going to prove a point. Go ahead. Try to stop us because you can't. I love that mentality. That's the part. The part that you.
I agree with that mentality. All I'm saying is Scatterbo, who also missed most of training camp, wasn't really back on the practice field to the last week and played a couple of snaps in that last preseason game. I'm just saying to rush him out there into these very high leverage, short yardage or goal line situations in his very first game. I don't know if that's something the coaching staff is going to do in week 1.
Well,
I think he's going to develop, and it probably won't take him long to develop into that role. And I don't think it's going to take long for him to show the coaching staff that he deserves more than just a handful of snaps or a handful of carries.
Sure.
All I'm saying is week 1 for a rookie running back who barely took the field all summer, I just think lower the expectations just a little bit just for this Sunday.
Okay, we'll wait till Dallas, Sean, okay? We'll make him happy. We'll wait till Dallas, and then we'll get him out there to do it. Go ahead. Anything else?
Yeah, just one last thing. I want to shout out to one of my favorite callers, and that's Coach Marvin. He said something during the offseason that really stuck with me, and he said something along the lines of, no matter what happens this season, no matter what the record is, of course we're developing. We have a very good coach in Coach Dayball, Shane, Brandon Brown. I love the front office and what they're doing. You can see the logic and the decision makings that they're doing and how they're trying to build this team from the ground up. So no matter what happens, please keep that unit together because they're moving the team in the right direction. I couldn't be more excited. Go Giants.
All right, Sean. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
We've
been reiterating that message for months now. Obviously, we love the Giants to go on have an amazing season, a deep run, make the playoffs. But really, we just want to see them take a step in the right direction this season. Show that they are making growth all across the roster, that these young guys are developing. We've seen it a couple of years ago with the Detroit Lions. They went from being what I think the worst team in the NFL or the second worst team in the NFL to the next year being around 500. They started the season 1-8 and then won 8-9 games in a row, just missed the playoffs. And then the year after, they became one of the best teams in the NFL. And that's what they've been the last couple of seasons. This could be one of those seasons where it's more important just for the Giants to show that they are making a jump and a step in the right direction. It doesn't necessarily need to lead to a deep playoff run or even a playoff run. You just want to see them showing that they are growing. The whole roster and coaching staff is taking a step where, maybe next year we're talking about the Giants as a legitimate contender.
They tell you that, the worst thing you could do is keep everything the same if things are not going well, right? You have to find things to change. Well, after 2 losing seasons, we've seen Brian Daboll adjust and change things. We saw him play his starters and veterans at the beginning of couple of preseason games and get them more snaps than he had in the past. We saw him change the workflow schedule during training camp, and especially this past week where he put them onto the regular Tuesday off schedule, which he had not done in his previous 3 years as the Giants head coach. We have seen him give the play calling back to Mike Kafka, who, by the way, when he did it in 2022, was up in the box. Now, not only is Kafka getting the play calling back, he's going to be on the sideline, which is another change. So
let's not forget the complete revamping of the whole player development department. Brian Daboll completely revamped that whole group, and he's very, very high on the group that's in the building right now, and has talked about how they've already helped this team, this young team, already show signs of growth already.
So the truth is, if you don't like what's happened here the last 2 years where the Giants had really difficult times trying to slog through the seasons, I get it. But Brian Daboll gets it too because he's made some changes this year to try to get different results. Give him credit for that. And now we'll just have to see how it all plays out.
Yep.
Lou in Texas, you're next on the program. Hello.
Hey, guys. How's it going today?
Hi.
Good.
How are
you, Lou?
Okay, good. Couple quick hitters. So first, any idea what the issue was with Theo Johnson? Are you surprised, Flott over Banks? And could this be the best defense in the division? Go Big Blue. Take it offline.
Thank you, Lou.
Okay. You want to take Theo?
Sure. No, we don't know what was the potential issue, but he's been on the practice field all week.
In full,
not even listed on the injury report as a full participant, just not listed, period. So whatever the potential issue might have been last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, clearly not an issue now. So he's full go. He's ready to go. He's spoke about it in the locker room. Was it yesterday or Wednesday? Nothing, no cause for concern in the slightest bit when it comes to Theo's health right now.
Correct. As far as Flott and Banks, there is no official word from the Giants as to what the starting lineup is going to be, and quite honestly, it doesn't even matter because what really matters is who's on the field at the most important parts of the game. whoever plays that first snap gets credit for a start. But we all know because of substitution patterns in the NFL, that's really irrelevant. So I think that's important to keep in mind. Now, as far as what happened with the distribution of snaps and what's happened during the preseason, unfortunately for Banks, Flott missed a little bit of time earlier in the preseason, and then Banks missed the last 2 weeks of the preseason. So both guys ran into health issues. Banks' health issues lasted longer than Flott's, and they also came more recently and closer to opening day. So quite frankly, if you had to make a decision based on, okay, well, what are we going to do here with these guys? I think it probably makes a lot more sense right now, at least maybe to tip your scales to Cordell Flott for the moment, because at least in recent vintage, he's had more healthy snaps on the field. And by the way, both guys had good off seasons. Let's make that clear. Both guys had good off seasons. So that's how I stand on it. I don't think it matters a hill of beans, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and to be honest, whoever, on Sunday, whoever it is, the one that is technically starting out there at corner opposite Paulson and Adebo, that doesn't mean just because they're out there on Sunday that they earned the job and that is their job all season.
What did Bowen say the other day? Tell him.
What
matchups.
Oh, yeah. So
it's
entirely about matchups. Entirely you have two different types of corners in Cordell Flott and Deontay Banks. So just because one guy might be out there first on Sunday doesn't mean that next week that same guy's going to be out there first. It can easily flip-flop. They're going to, as Paul mentioned, as Shane Bowen said yesterday, it's going to be matchup dependent, which, quite frankly, unless you have one guy run away with the competition, I'm perfectly fine with doing it that way.
Yep. 201-939-4513. Write down the number for next Monday when we come back with another edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live. We are here every single weekday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time for 1 hour on Giants.com and the Giants YouTube channel to talk Giants football with you. Once again, the Giants play on Sunday, 1 o'clock at the Washington Commanders. Giants pregame show starts on WFAN at 11 a.m. You can watch the game, obviously, on Fox, unless you plan on traveling down there. I'm sure tickets are still available.
I'm sure.
You could probably get in there. Is there anything, are we still running it on the app as well?
There's no streaming the game on the app anymore. That was just the preseason.
So post-game or no?
The post-game show, the TV post-game show will be streamed on Giants.com and the Giants app.
And YouTube.
An archive version will also be posted Sunday evening, along with the radio post-game show will be up on the podcast platform Sunday evening. We're going to have, obviously, our typical, normal gauntlet of game day content on Giants.com and the Giants app all day Sunday. We'll have stuff going up, tonight, tomorrow. We have the Fan Fest tonight at American Dream.
That's correct.
It's a big event.
Yes. Yes, please, folks, if you have an opportunity, later on this afternoon, late in the afternoon, going down towards dinner time, there is that Fan Fest. I don't have the exact time of the start. Is it 4 o'clock?
I believe it.
It's already been wiped out of the notes here.
I believe it starts actually at 2 o'clock.
Does it start that early?
I think it goes from 2 to 6, I believe.
Well, that's a half hour from now, 2 o'clock.
2 to 6 or 2 to 8.
Somebody wiped out the
hours,
somebody wiped out the notice, the promo here in the document. All right. In any event, check with the American Dream. Maybe you can go to AmericanDream.com and maybe Giants.com as well.
Yep. 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Thank you, Pearson Butler. That's why he's a great producer, right? All pro. Pearson Butler. 2 p.m. this afternoon.
The main stage from 6 to 8.
Giants Fan Fest over there across the street at the American Dream.
It's actually called the Giants Season Kickoff.
There you go. All right. So come to East Rutherford. That's where all the action is, certainly this afternoon and tonight as you get ready for Giants football. I think that will do it for us today, Matt.
Yep.
Folks, enjoy your weekend. Giants and Commanders on Sunday. This has been Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. And as always, we have come to you from the Giants podcast studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. We'll talk to you on Monday. So long, everybody.